I don't listen to K-pop, but when I first saw screenshots of this movie show up online, I knew I had to see it. Girls fighting demons in snazzy black leather outfits, pastel-colored demon twinks. I love the premise and the art style. The internet's enthusiasm about it was promising, so I watched it. Kpop Demon Hunters is really good. It makes its absurd premise work, and mostly delivers on it. It's so much fun to watch. Its characters are memorable and lovable. The music is excellent. The animation is vibrant and beautiful. I love seeing stylized animation become more of a thing after Spider-Verse. It's a much-needed antidote to Disney's hyper-realistic live-action CGI. This is also a major win for original animated projects. This film also works extremely well as a musical. The songs are well utilized for storytelling purposes, instead of just being there because K-pop is in the title. Also, I love Myra. She's my spirit animal. Despite all of that, I do have some issues with it, particularly with its story. The story isn't even bad. It's quite good, but I think its flaws are still worth talking about. Kpop Demon Hunters is a great film that stops just short of being a perfect film. What's missing? Spoiler warning. The main emotional conflict hinges around Rumi's inability to accept herself as a champion, half human and half demon. She has tiger-like stripe markings on her skin that indicate her demonic heritage, and she's kept them hidden from her friends for decades. The other girls believe that demons are pure evil because they've spent their entire lives hunting them, so it's easy to understand why Rumi feels the need to hide her patterns from them. She's also been actively taught to be ashamed of them by her mentor, Celine. Over the course of the film, she develops a secret relationship with Jinwoo, the sajaboys' leading man, which challenges all of her existing ideas about demons. Jinwoo reveals that he was once human, and that the Demon King keeps him enslaved by weaponizing his shame over evil deeds committed during his life. Rumi begins to sympathize and identify with him, and starts wondering if all demons are actually people with feelings. Then, it's revealed that Jinwoo was playing Rumi the whole time. He betrays her and exposes her patterns publicly, which causes her friends to leave her. Rumi has a mental breakdown in front of Celine. Celine's philosophy of repressing one's flaws and emotions directly led to Rumi's self-hatred and sense of shame, which manifests as the demonic pattern spreading to cover most of her body. She admonishes Celine for being unable to love and accept her whole self, including her demonic side. The confrontation ends with Rumi dramatically rejecting her life's mission, and then she vanishes in the manner of a demon. The next time we see her, it's the climax. The sajaboys have summoned the Demon King to take everyone's souls, and it looks like all hope is lost when Rumi enters the stadium and reveals the solution. Having accepted her flaws, she can create a new and healthier Hanmoon with the power of self-acceptance. Her patterns start glowing a different color. The girls sing a triumphant song about embracing one's flaws and being authentic. The sajaboys are defeated, and the world is saved. Wait, what? Did I miss something? Here's my main problem with the film. You can't introduce the idea of demons being people and then throw it out the window. I like the idea of the patterns, and demons in general, representing shame. I think that's a really interesting angle, and it makes for a poignant message. One of my favorite scenes is the one where all the people in Seoul are walking in a trance towards the stadium for the sajaboys concert, and the voice of their shame echoes inside their heads. We get a brief glimpse of their own internal conflicts, which is relatable and tragic. I like how Guima used his shame to parasitically feed off of both demons and people. I like how the film demonstrates that repression is usually the cause of shame, rather than an antidote to it. The voice of shame on the inside is the demon talking. It manipulates you, it lies to you about yourself, it distances you from other people, and it eventually corrupts you into the worst version of yourself. That's all great, but it's never really made clear if demons in general are all victims of shame, or just agents of it. If they're victims, then that makes them sympathetic. It means that they struggle with shame in the same way the humans do, and that they deserve freedom from Guima's influence. There's an entire song about that. So, is there a way to save the demons from themselves? Apparently not. The new Hanmoon ensures that they're trapped with the voice of their shame for the rest of eternity. Alternatively, if demons really are pure evil and don't deserve to live, then that implies that Myra and Zoe were right to be suspicious of Rumi. And that Celine was right to make her feel ashamed for having patterns. I get that Rumi's patterns are probably supposed to represent shame in general, and that the resolution is supposed to be Rumi's decision to stop listening to the voice of shame. But you can't do that and also imply that Rumi's shame is warranted. The film ends with a remix of Takedown, the song that Rumi said was too hateful because it makes her feel like she deserves to die for being part demon. How is Rumi supposed to embrace her demonic heritage and cease being ashamed of it, while also being a ruthless demon slayer who hunts down her own kind? That was the leading question for most of the film, and we don't really get an answer to it. When we left her with Celine, she was just about ready to join the villains. Having her introspection take place off-screen makes the resolution feel unearned. And then there's Jinwoo, who offers Rumi some much-needed guidance and support. He's the only person in her entire life who can relate to her struggles with her patterns and give her advice on what to do about them. For most of the film, we're left wondering what his real motivations are and where his loyalties really lie. Then it's revealed that Jinwoo really is evil and was just manipulating Rumi the whole time. Okay, how are we supposed to feel about his character now? While Jinwoo may have lied to Rumi about his backstory to make himself seem more sympathetic, his scenes with Guima and his emotional confession make it clear that he really does feel shame about his betrayal of his family. He can be both sympathetic and villainous. I'm not suggesting that he and Rumi need to be a happy couple by the end, but something more needs to happen with him to show whether he's capable of redemption or not, whether his relationship with Rumi actually left an impression on him or if it was all a farce. Either way, he remains an interesting and nuanced character. How does the film decide to conclude his arc? He jumps in front of a fire blast in a heroic sacrifice to save Rumi, and says something sappy about how she gave him his soul back so he's giving it to her. Nope. No, fuck that. This is not a natural conclusion to Jinwoo's arc. This is a cop-out. The writers pull a cheap redemption equals death to avoid having to give Jinwoo an actual redemption arc, and thus avoid having to answer that central question about whether demons are people or not. The one demon who is a person gets a sappy heroic sacrifice, the rest just die or suffer, I guess. And again, whatever soul-searching Jinwoo had to do to choose redemption is not shown. He can just throw himself into a fire and be done. The other sajaboys are just straight up killed, so I guess they didn't have sympathetic backstories. There's one unexplored plot thread that could answer most of these questions. What about Rumi's parents? Her mother was a Sunlight sister, a member of the previous Demon Hunter singing group. We learn nothing about Rumi's demonic father. How did her mother end up in a relationship with him? Did he used to be human, like Jinwoo? What kind of shame was keeping him under Guima's thumb? Did he betray and manipulate Rumi's mother? Was he capable of redemption? Did he care about his daughter at all? Or go back to stealing souls and forget about the whole thing? Did he kill Rumi's mother? We don't know. Sunlight Sisters. I thought that they were at least going to give us some backstory, maybe a flashback, about Rumi's parents. It seems like that would be important, both for her exploration of her own identity and her budding relationship with a demon. It seems like there would be some obvious parallels between Rumi's parents' relationship and her own relationship with Jinwoo, which could have massive implications for the outcome of that relationship. And if Rumi's father was also sympathetic, that could be what helps her to accept herself. If he betrayed and killed Rumi's mother, then that could justify Celine's personal hatred of demons, and Rumi would have to learn to love herself despite that. Ignoring this plot thread deprives the climax of context. The Demon Hunter's ethos is unhealthy because it ignores moral complexity, but then the film proceeds to ignore its own moral complexity. Maybe some of this frustration is just my own bias. I wanted the film to go in a different direction than it did. Evil twinks are my weakness, so I wanted them to be sympathetic, and they're not. That's the point. I was successfully seduced by them. The fact that your idol literally beat out BTS on Spotify, and the fact that I've heard people singing soda pop on the street in real life, are testaments to how quickly we all lose our souls. It's also likely that I'm missing some unspoken context. Much of the story is a commentary on the K-pop industry. I learned from TV tropes that the other for sajaboys each represent different forms of exploitation within the K-pop industry. Baby represents infantilization. Abby represents sexualization. Mystery represents lack of privacy. And romance represents parasociality. I also might be missing some context about the nature of demons and their relationship to humans, because I don't know much about Korean mythology. I think I can safely assume that the supernatural beings that are called demons in this movie are not the same concept as demons in Abrahamic mythology, even if they're similar. Still, I wish that the sajaboys had a bit of closure, even if it was just an after-credits scene of them in the underworld. I'd love to have seen them looking beat up and disgruntled, only to be greeted by a horde of demon fans waving glowing saja sticks. The plot of this film isn't perfect, but it's still fun, and it has a good message. The story is mostly a vehicle for the music and animation anyway, which is really saying something. Usually, music and visuals aren't enough to save an underwritten story. In this film, they're both so good that they elevate it. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend checking it out.